Hey everybody, this is Tony with Class Eagles. I hope you're having a great day. A very important lesson for kids to learn at a very early age when they're competing in sports and they're dealing with the season is not to tie their self-worth to a single moment or single event within a season. And let me explain what I'm talking about. Is that, whether it's a positive or never negative event, that a player will dwell and make these kind of assumptions about themselves or creates a story around an event that either props them up artificially or drags them down artificially. And I'll give this example and some very simple ones to kind of explain my point. Is that if a team is playing and they lose a game, how do most kids respond after that? Whether it's a championship game or regular season game, often after a game is lost, they immediately kind of think, okay, well, maybe I'm not a good player. Maybe I'm not meant to play the sport. Or, maybe they think, oh, I guess our team is not very good this year. We're probably not going to have a good season. Maybe our team is placed in the wrong league. We're probably going to lose a lot. All of a sudden, they've taken one event and tied their own self-worth, their team self-worth to just that one event versus it making it just a single event that you showed up, played a game and lost, and that's it. There's nothing beyond that. There's nothing to bring forward or continue to dwell on about what happened. You played, you lost, you move on. And same thing the other way. If you're playing and you win a game, you also don't want a player to say, "Oh, well, God, I must be really good now," and or our team is going to be really good this year, because all of a sudden it gets a false sense of achievement. You won a game, and that's it. All right. So it's understanding that that's just one moment, one thing that has happened, good or bad. We sometimes tend to blow them out of proportion and make them more than what they are versus just a single event. And this is something that you see a lot throughout the season, one way or the other, whether it's the player, sometimes it's with parents as well, or a coach, that we really take a single moment, single event, and make it into a lot more than it really is. And a great lesson to this we can find from professional athletes. If you watch a press conference, after a game, and you watch a professional athlete answer questions about how the game went, the season, kind of what's next, it's really, you can start seeing patterns in how they answer questions. And one thing they typically do is they do not dwell on what happened. And I'll be honest, maybe some athletes will do, and you can kind of see those athletes, so sometimes the ones that have a harder time bouncing back from losses or seem to have the most inconsistency in their performances. Were really great athletes or great performers, their answers are very similar each time, whether they've won, lost, a game, a championship. They always are just focused on that it's just one event. If they just lost a game, they'll say something along the lines of, yep, lost tonight, need to go back to work tomorrow, get ready for next week. If they've just won a game, yep, great win tonight, need to get back to work tomorrow, get ready for next week. They're not hanging their team's their worth, how everything else will go in the future based on that past event. Whether it's a win or a loss, they're looking ahead and knowing that they need to control what happens next and try to get the best result they can in the future. But they're not going to sit and dwell back on a mistake or something that negative that happened. So this is a great way to approach the season. Again, it was a lesson I wish I would have learned as a player from a lot younger age, because I think a lot of us can point to moments where something happened in the moment we felt it was the end of the world and a lot bigger of an issue than it really turned out to be. And it's because we have this habit of doing it. We have a habit of taking a single event and making it more than it really is. So when the season begins and you start playing, when you have success, you have failures, things go well, things don't go well, don't make them into more than they really are. It's an event, whether good or bad. Learn from it. Don't tie your self-worth to it. Don't tie your team self-worth to it. Don't start getting into that self-talk, whether positive or negative, to assume you've made it. Just understand that that event happened, good or bad, recognize it, and get ready to move on to the next event. That's the best way to approach a season. all right, or really anything in life for the most part, is that once it's happened, it's over. And the only thing we can do from that point is what we can do next. We can't go back and change anything. And we don't want to get a false sense of identity, a false sense of achievement, a false sense of failure, when in reality, that one event doesn't define everything we're capable of doing after the event happened. So this season, seasons to come, when you're playing, as one coach used to say to me, if something good happens, be pleased but never satisfied, and then again, on days where things don't go well, get back to work tomorrow.